Hey, this is Shobit, founder of Intentional Product Manager. And today we'll be talking about the 7 myths that make product managers miserable in their jobs. Stay tuned for more. Hey, this is Shobit, CEO of Intentional Product Manager, where we help product managers have careers and lives that they can be proud of while every day being happy, satisfied, and excited about the life that they are leading. Okay, myth number one is the myth that success equals hard work. How many times have you heard something like, idle hands, they're a devil's play or something like that? There's all these myths that for success, you have to keep working hard. Now, here's what happens. I'll give you a very classic case. A lot of my clients, they say that Shobit, I have absolutely no time for strategic work. I am working like crazy on all the tactical tasks, just absolutely crazy. And there's no way I can find any time for strategic work at all. And I'm 100% convinced that's the case. And then we actually go and we look into their calendar and what they're doing day to day. And we look at the value that is being provided by every single thing that they do. And invariably, what happens is that, 10, 20 hours a week, we can just shave right off. They're gone. They added minimal value. In fact, maybe you've even known of people who used to work at your company, and when they left, nobody felt any difference. Like they weren't adding value, they were subtracting value. In fact, I remember one of the managers that I love to work with. He always said that sometimes the best way for a software team to be successful is to just suspend work for 2 weeks and let the product go into the market and just do nothing and maybe take some people off the team. So what's happening is your internal dialogue. It is such that it's equating the value that you provide with the amount of work that you do. So that's the first thing that's happening. So what you're doing is you're rushing to fill in any available time that is free on your calendar based on your habits, and you're filling it with low priority, zero value tasks. And what's happening is this is making you miserable because you never can find time for the strategic work, but also all your hobbies are gone. Everything you did to take care of yourself, your health, your body, everything's gone and it's all invested in that hard work. And you believe deeply in your soul, there's a narrative that's telling you, I gotta keep working, otherwise I'm not adding value. So that's the first thing. That equation of hard work equals success, equals contribution, that is making you miserable. Myth number two is that you don't understand your self-worth. And your myth is your self-worth is equal to serving your engineers. Now, nothing could be further from the truth. Because if you look at your engineering team, that's a tool. It's a way to achieve end outcomes. And those end outcomes ultimately come down to two things: the success of your customers and the success of your company, as in what are the metrics that you're moving. Now, if you could solve the same problems without using any engineering work, you should. As an example, let's say it was about the adoption of your product. If you could run marketing campaigns as a product manager and be able to acquire more customers, and that improves business metrics, really, was the engineering team any useful? No. So all they are a means to an end. They're going to help you achieve certain end outcomes. Now, that doesn't mean you devalue them, because they're probably the biggest means. I mean, you're building a technology product and they're core to it. But it's not about building the product. It's about the end outcome. So don't attach your self-worth and your contribution to serving your engineering team. It's more about how do you actually achieve the end outcomes. And the more you start to own those end outcomes, the less you'll be subservient to your engineering team, and instead you'll become equal partners, where it's the perfect yin and yang and the perfect match of you bringing in the customer side, you being the general manager, and they bring in all the technology expertise and they imagine solutions that you never thought would be possible. And together you achieve the best particular outcome for your customers. Myth number 3, it's the money myth. Now, this is such a common conversation. I've had it hundreds of times. When I speak initially with people, I ask them about money. How much money are they making right now? And how much money would they want to be making that would make them absolutely happy and excited? Where money would no longer be an issue. And invariably I get an answer, oh, I'm making enough money. I'm not here for the money. Money is, it'll be good to get some, but really that's not my primary goal. My primary goal is something else. But when I ask them, hey, how about we add another $100,000? Suddenly their eyes light up. Suddenly they're like, oh, that means I could do this, I could do that, I could do all these things. Look, what's happening is because, two things are happening. First of all, the major myth is that you're actually equating money with your self-worth, which is not really true. Money is, somebody's making more money, that doesn't mean that they are more worthy. But it does mean that, I look at money as a way of keeping score of how much value you're adding to your job and to the world. And so if you see, there's a product manager who's really doing well at Google and making somewhere between $500K to $1 million a year, yeah, they're adding more value. They're serving more users. And not just they're adding more value, they're communicating more value. And as a result of that, they are making more money. Now, would it be wrong for you to make additional money if you were adding that value? Absolutely not, right? It's a good thing. But the myth that product managers fall into is, first of all, money equals self-worth, which is not true. It's just a way of keeping score of how much value you're adding to the world. And as a result, how much value you're getting back. And the way to get more money is to just improve the amount of value you add to the world. So that's all it is. And this myth of money equals self-worth, even though people say something else, but I know internally what's going on, that keeps them miserable. So two things. It's not wrong to ask for more money, to want more money, but also see money where it serves you. Okay, myth number 4 is the myth of biases, that the world is out there to get you, that you're biased against because of race, gender, age, sexual preference, orientation, bunch of other things. That is keeping you miserable. Now, here's the thing. It's not a myth. Ageism is real. Biases based on anything are 100% real. But here's the challenge. When that becomes the first thing in your mind, that keeps you miserable. Because why? Well, very simple. When I, again, speak with a lot of product managers, they say, look, I need to do this because I am competing against all these people who come from a background that's more privileged, that's better. And so I'm already far behind. And while there's some truth in that, maybe things are easy for them. But when you use that as the first line of defense, what happens is that you don't go full out. You use that bias as a crutch. You don't really play to the full potential. You don't give it your all. And what's happening there is that there are other people who are facing the exact same biases and they're making things happen. Even in my programs, there's people who come from all sorts of backgrounds and, they face biases and they have succeeded and others that haven't. And the only thing that's stopping others from succeeding is the difference in their attitude, how they approach, how much this thing is front and center. Because while it is true that biases are there, it's also irrelevant. There's nothing you can do about it. And what you need to do instead is go and get what you're after in spite of all these biases. So that myth of the bias is going to stop me from succeeding is really what is going to keep you miserable. Number five, myth number five is the myth of choice. That if I have more choice, I would be successful. That I'm not ready to commit because, like what if this thing doesn't work? And what if that thing doesn't work? I'll just give you an example. I've had clients who've been for years debating whether they should be in this field or in this field because they're worried about if they committed to something, the other thing will just will not. They lose all those things. It seems like something that's there. I mean, just as an example, while I was running intentional product manager while still being a product manager at Google, I would go back and forth between I need to really scale this business, I need to succeed, oh, I need to get promoted, I need to do really well. And I was like oscillating between the two and never really happy or satisfied or able to give it my all. So this myth of, oh, I have choice, it's actually paralyzing. Choice can be paralyzing. And I know you want to maintain that choice. I know you've heard of option values, but what happens is option value also creates option freeze, where you just freeze, where you like try to do both, you're getting FOMO and you can't succeed in either. So what you need to do, so that's a myth. And what overcomes this myth is decisions. It's when you decide and you say, yes, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to succeed beyond measure. That's what helps you actually overcome and achieve amazing things in your career. So don't fall into this myth of, I got to have choice. I got to have all these options available to me, and go into fields that like, oh, then I could go do A, B, C, D, and I don't need to decide. Fucking decide and get it done. Because as Tony Robbins says, massive action is what gives results. But before massive actions comes a decision, and a decision means cutting out everything else and burning the ships and just deciding that this is what I'm going to go after. A lot more can happen once you are ready to make that decision. Myth number 6: when I achieve my goals, I will be happy. When I am a director of product at Google, when I'll be happy. When I launch my own company, I will be happy. This myth of first I need to hit my goals and that's when I'm going to be happy, it's making you freaking miserable. Because here's the truth. I've helped many people achieve their goals, and I've achieved many of the goals I set out for. I mean, back in the day, working for Google was a dream. It was like, wow, if I could ever do that, I would be happy. And I was for a month. And then I found all the things that were going wrong, and I focused on those, and I became back miserable again. So the thing that you need to do is to not focus on success and happiness after achieving the goal. It's about the journey, because the fact of the matter is that we as humans, we are hardwired with this thing called hedonic adaptation, something like that. Please look it up. Google will tell you that better than me. But what happens is we achieve something and it's like we are excited about it, and then that just becomes the new normal. And now we're looking to achieve the next thing, and our mental state goes back to its default. And the thing is, your mental state, it's like a thermostat. If it becomes too hot, it will cool things down, and if it becomes too cold, it will heat things up. So it's a thermostat. Your level of happiness, it's a thermostat. No matter what happens, it might cause some temporary rise in happiness or lowering in happiness, but we'll bring it back. The thing is, you can actually change the thermostat directly without changing the environment, without changing the actual success you're having. So this myth of when I achieve something, I will be happy is keeping you miserable in your career. And that's true everywhere, but product managers seem to be especially, I don't know, people who have chosen this profession, they seem to be extremely competitive, extremely something that's causing them to fall victim to this. And half the time I can make people happy in their career without changing anything externally. I can teach them ways of doing that. And then what happens is everything else becomes freaking easier. It becomes easier for you to succeed in your career once you approach it from a level of happiness. Because think about it, um, let's say you're trying to build up the strategy for your product. If you show up happy and excited, how much more can you get done? It's not a matter of like 2, 3 times more. You can focus on ideas that are 10x and 100x more powerful. You can do work that is 100x, maybe 1000x more valuable. Your potential is unlimited, but your state is limiting your potential. So don't let your state limit your potential. Happiness, choose happiness first, and then, forget about the myth of I need to achieve X to be happy. Just be happy. Myth number 7, the myth of falling behind. So, have you ever scrolled on Instagram and just found that, oh wow, people's lives are so amazing. They are just like always on vacation, beautiful kids, beautiful partners, seem to have a lot of money because they're really living it up. And look at me, I'm sitting in this basement office. I'm literally sitting in a basement office and like just working like crazy, and things are not working out for me. That's the myth of you falling behind others. Because here's the truth. What you're comparing is your real life to their Instagram life. And what you're comparing is their LinkedIn career to your real career. They have all these positions and it seems like they just move forward. But you never know what are the points of misery that they went through. You never knew what actually happened. Like some of the most successful people have had some of the biggest downfalls. And the thing is, the more successful you become in the general sense, the more ups and downs you have. Like the stakes are higher. You're a VP somewhere. You are running your own company like me. And suddenly for a week, I'll tell you, for a week, I might get 0 clients. And if I was falling in this myth of success and other people succeeding and they are always getting clients, I would be freaking miserable all the time. And that would just put me in a downward spiral enough to rock my business. But I need to be rock solid. I need to have that self-worth and self-belief that, no matter what, I can recover from it and I can succeed. That's what keeps me going. And so what is important here is not to compare your career with somebody's imagined career, because we are all on different paths in our lives. Not on the same path where we're trying to race, but we're on different paths. Had I not had some setbacks in my career, intentional product manager would not have existed. And the joy and happiness I get every day from growing this business, building my team, but most importantly, seeing my clients succeed, be happy, and share those wins with me, that is a joy that I would never get. And so I know everything that has happened in my career, good and bad, has led me to this point. It's a belief that there is something bigger than me that is causing me to ultimately be where I am, and it's taking me somewhere else. So this myth that you are falling behind somehow just is absolutely false, because there's no line in which you can fall behind. It's a universe with its own energy and its own path. And the more you can let go of this myth, the more you'll be happy and successful in your career. So see, what I don't want to happen is that you watch this video and you learn about the myths, and then you continue to stay victim to them, and you continue to be miserable in your job day in and day out, and also not have the career and life that is possible for you. So let us help you. The way that will happen is that you will go to intentionalproductmanager.com/apply. And what you'll do is you'll fill out what time you're available to talk to a member of my team, and then a short follow-on form where we want to make sure that you're a good fit to speak with us. If you're not a good fit, don't worry. We'll give you your time back and we'll say, nope, don't worry, you're not a good fit. Maybe here's some things you can do right now, and sorry, we can't talk to you. But if you do, on that call, it's a very powerful call. We're going to dig deep and we're going to coach you. We're going to actually help figure out what's going on in your career that's making you miserable, that's blocking you, that's preventing you from getting to the next level. And we'll really uncover what is it that you truly want to happen. And for most people, this is a revelation. They're like, oh, sure, but I wish one member from your team had asked me these questions before. And then if it makes sense for us to work together to help you get to the goals, we'll give you an offer. We'll tell you what it will take to work with us. And if not, half the people that I speak to, I just tell them, look, you're not a good fit to work with us. So go do these things right now, or go talk to this other coach, or do something else. And let's connect when it's the right time for us to be working with you. So we're brutally honest about that. And as I'm saying, maybe 1/3 of people that I speak to, I tell them, nope, not a good fit. That's really what we're after, is getting you that clarity, getting you that value. And if it makes sense for you to work with us, we let us know. So for that, you need to go to intentionalproductmanager.com/apply. Find the time that works for you. If it's booked out 1 or 2 weeks in advance, I apologize for that. We just get booked out all the freaking time. Fill out a short follow-on form, and then we can decide to speak or part as friends. Look forward to me or somebody else from my team to speak with you very, very soon.